Hi, church family. Thought I'd share with you a little bit this morning about some of the thinking I've been going through recently. I was thinking about the passage where Jesus told his disciples to be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. Now, he was talking about being thoughtful people, being wise people, and yet having the best of intent and the best of motivation. And that can be a difficult balance to walk. When do we make decisions that are wise but come out of a motivation of godliness? How do we do that? I think that it begins by looking at our hearts and making sure that we're not caught up in a bitterness or an anger that is going to color our decisions. But we can't just be everything's going to be fine either. We need to be wise. Jesus called his disciples to be wise. He didn't use that phrase lightly. So what does it mean to be wise? What does it mean to balance godly motivation with wise decisions? I think it has a lot to do with looking at the information and not being ruled by our emotions. I think that wisdom is one of the hardest things there are in all of life, because wisdom is knowing God, understanding God's character, and applying God's principles to everyday life. That can be really difficult because when we're hurting or when we're angry or when we're emotionally compromised, we tend to make decisions that are based on those emotions. I think Pastor Sean did a fantastic job of pointing out that God has given us two different parts of our brain. One, that emotions are important. It's God's gift. All your emotions are a gift from God, but they're not to rule over you. That's the prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of our brains. The wisdom center is what it's called by brain doctors, by neurologists. And it means that we need to take a moment, that in the middle of our emotions, it's important to take a moment to say, what are my motivations? What am I feeling? And now, how am I going to filter that through biblical principles, through God's character, and through God's goals? So I want to encourage you, when you're feeling emotional, whether it's good or bad or in between, don't just be driven by your emotion. You can't ignore the emotion. It's important. That's God's gift. But you need to combine it with God's principles, God's thinking, God's character. Now, that means we need to take time. It means that, as Pastor Sean pointed out, we can't just react. We need to respond. So I think the great encouragement is take a moment. Take a moment to sort out your feelings. Take a moment to sort out God's principles, and then move forward in wisdom. I think we'll be praying that for ourselves, but we can also be praying it for our leaders, our government leaders who need so much wisdom. They need so much guidance. Let's pray together this week hard for them, that they might understand what God would have us do as we move forward in our current circumstances. I hope that you have a great day today. I am praying for you. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you. God bless.